work with your data in MongoDB. So first is comes like model your data, design your data schema to support fixed patterns. You can update or enforce your schema at any point. So let's say if I click here to learn more, it will take me through the documentation part. So we will briefly and at the same time make sure like we will make sure that the discussion ahead help you in the projects or maybe your work life if you're working somewhere in date backend, so that will surely help you. So this is a very important document which is on the server, which helps you understand from basic level to the maybe a application level, how to use it on the real time. So here data modeling introduction, if I check out, so it mentions that the key challenge is to like in data modeling is balancing the need of the application. I mean the performance of the database engine and the data retrieval patterns. So data like if you are working as an analyst, you will be surely querying the data now and then. So it is just a primary job for you, just to query the data. So the basic more objective here is to like balancing the need of the application. So like always consider the application uses of the data, like processing the data and all those things. So then comes which they have mentioned is flexible schema. So schema under schema, they you may have multiple tables, right? Let me just check if there are any comments on the chat section. If there are any comments, I will help you understand. Yes, ठीक है, no worries. So we'll just continue. Think things are fine here. ठीक है. So if I talk about flexible schema, so like SQL databases as mentioned, where you declare table schema before inserting data. Like MongoDB's collection by default doesn't do not require their documents to have this same schema. Like they have also mentioned some reasons here. We'll just check out the reasons quickly and then move on. Documents in a single collection do not need, yeah, do not need to have same set of fields, type of fields, documents within a collection. So the same thing which is mentioned over here. So this particular flexibility, I mean, is to facilitates the mapping of the documents like to an entity or an object. So this is a very important feature here, will help us to like leverage the technology and get the results done, like that can be basically balancing the needs of the application. So this is one of the embedded data, other thing which we have already checked out. So this is the embedded subdocument, and this is also the embedded subdocument as you can see in the picture. So we can just quickly check data use and performance. Data use and performance. Yeah. So as they have also mentioned here, when designing a model, consider how applications will use your data. For instance, like if your application only uses recently inserted documents, consider using capped collection. Or if your application needs are mainly read operations to collection, add indexes to support common queries, can improve the performance. So basically, there are two cases. First is if your application just only helps or only the need of the hour is to right, I mean use recently inserted documents. So in that case, you can use capped collection. What is this capped collection? You can furthermore study that by clicking on the link. We'll just check out maybe later. And if the like if the case is like mainly read operations to a collection, then adding indexes to the support common queries that can help us to improve the performance of the database. So that is the that is one of the uh, you can say, yeah. Just a minute, checking if you have any doubts in the chat section. No doubts posted in the main. Okay, ठीक है. No worries. We'll just quickly move on and then, yeah. So application modernization guide, here it is. But let's say we will, if we have to talk about schema validation, we will talk about this later. Data models. Data in MongoDB has a flexible schema. This is also mentioned the same. Collection do not enforce document structure by default. So will data model examples. Some examples if we go through the same thing which they have also mentioned here, like the following document overview is data common schema. So the same thing, model relationships. Let's say model one-to-one relationship, which we have already discussed. Like a user profile will be only engaged with the user, one to many. Then like one to many comes under, like let's say I have posted something on my social network. People will come there and post, maybe comment, maybe repost, maybe uh, comment there, like maybe like or share something like that. That may happen. So many to many also is this or I mean one to many is also covered. So model tree structures, example of modeling tree structures, we can have a look over here. At the moment I think this should be, mm, we just go back. Data models, MongoDB fundamentals. If we just go back and check this, but we need data modeling concept. Yeah, okay. So if I talk about data use and performance, which we have covered now, schema validation. Let's see. We can go with schema validation at the moment. Yeah. So basically, if I talk about schema validation now, I think we are on the same page. Yeah, let me share this tab, schema validation. Yeah, I hope now it's fine. So schema validation. Just a minute, guys. Just give me a minute. So we were talking about schema validation. So in this schema validation, like here we are enabled to create some values for the fields which we are trying to set up, like data types and maybe range of this particular values for that particular fields. So MongoDB uses a flexible schema model here. So that actually means is documents in a collection do not need the same fields and the data type by default. Like once we establish an application schema, like we can use schema validation to ensure like there is no such unintended schema changes or improper data types. So when to use schema validation, how and the conditions. So it depends on how user like use our application. So when the application is in early stage of development, maybe, so schema validation may be impose unhelpful restrictions because you don't know how to organize your data and something like that. So in that case you don't have to much maybe depend on schema validation specifically. The fields in your collections may change over time. Yeah, exactly. Like it, like if you are in your start of the development, then you should not focus much on this. So schema validation is most useful for maybe an unestablished application where you have a good sense of how to organize your data. Like you can use schema validation, some scenarios which are mentioned here, like for a user collection, ensure that password field is only stored as a string. This validation prevents users from saving their password as an unexpected data type, like an maybe image or something else. So for sales collection, let's talk about that. So ensure that item field belongs to the list of items that your store sells. Prevents a user from accidentally misspelling maybe an item when entering like sales data, which happens. There is a third case which is talks about a student collection, like GPA field is all should always a positive number, right? A GPA can't be a negative one because it ends on zero. This validation catches typos due to maybe some typos in data entry maybe, so that will take care. So when MongoDB checks validation, so we can talk about this and then like we can go back to the session ones. Yeah. So basically, when you create, let me just check if I have got. ठीक है. So ठीक है. I have just shared a link with you. I hope that will help you. ठीक है. We'll just continue with the same. Let me just check if it is working. Yes. So we were on the page that is checking the validation. So basically, yeah, checking the validation will fall under like when MongoDB checks validation, like when you create a new collection with the same schema validation, MongoDB check validation during updates. So basically, which we can what we can see is when we add validation to an existing collection, maybe so newly inserted documents are checked for validation. Already documents already in your collection are not checked for the validation until they are modified. So once we modify the documents, then surely be the validations will be checked. So here an interesting case is here. So what happens when a document fails a validation? So by default, when an insert or update operation would result in an invalid document. So MongoDB rejects the operation and doesn't write the document to the collection. Like the one of the alternative, you can configure MongoDB to allow invalid documents and log warnings when schema validations occur. So basically, that was the case. I think